Oh, yeah, we're on. I see it go. Yay! Hello, everyone, and welcome to Mashup Talk here on the Booty Mashup channel. Give it up for DJ Airson, who totally rocked the house. Oh, I love what each and every single one of our DJs brings to the table, to this channel. Everyone has got their own particular flavor. Obviously, everybody is spinning mashups, but everyone kind of approaches it differently, kind of, goes in different directions, has different backgrounds and stuff. And, the Friday afternoon or Friday night, wherever you are, happy hour. The happy hour, I always kind of just figured, it'll be a happy hour vibe. And theme starts, right after Mashup Talk. Then we do our weekend theme. But Airson brings it. Like, we got 80s weekend started already, and so I hope you love the 80s as much as we do. I mean, it's not like the 80s have anything more special than like the 90s or the 2000s or the 70s. I mean, you know how we roll on this channel. We love it all, but there is a lot of good material from the 80s, and actually a lot of questionable material as well. But that's what we do on this channel, is we're going to mash it all up. So it's not going to be, if you're like, I'm not so much into the 80s, well, don't worry. You're still going to get, all your current chart artists, because that's what we do. It is a mashup. So, don't be like that one guy who wrote a scathingly negative review for our booty mashup party in LA once, where it was like a Yelp review, and I was like, I came to 80s night and they didn't play any 80s, and actually it was 80s and 90s mashup night is what it was, and he didn't hear any 80s or 90s, and I know for a fact it's like, because I'm like, I like crack the whip with themes. I love themes. We love themes here on this channel. So every mashup that got played had to have an 80s song as part of it, so like at least one half of that mashup was 80s. And I wanted to like screenshot the playlist that DJ Shyboy and I had done, and just like sit there and just be a petty bitch about it, but I didn't. I was just like, apparently you didn't understand the concept of mashup and what a mashup is. This is what our party does. I'm sorry it wasn't for you, but boy, I really did want to like just school him a little more than that, though, but whatever. Anyway, yeah, Smash Color, fuck that guy. He's probably one of those people, like the you probably wanted to speak to the manager. So, a male Karen. I am the manager, which is why I manage the fact that it's like when we do 80s parties, 80s mashup parties, every single mashup that gets played is going to have an element of the 80s, and hopefully, iconically 80s. Although, it sort of depends. When you think of the 80s, I think a lot of people in their brain think of the iconic early 80s. We're talking like Depeche Mode and, Human League, Don't You Want Me Baby, and, Madonna and Prince, and, we're talking Purple Rain, we're talking, Like a Virgin, these like really, but all of that was in the early 80s. And, as the decade wore on, there was actually like a lot of more questionable material that came out that maybe is not held up as well, but we'll probably play that too. I'm talking things like Starship, We Built This City, and just like super cheesy bad songs, and with those like keyboards that are just all like blah, all that like cheesy movie soundtrack music. Yeah, we'll do it, but we'll mash it all up. And then the other thing that people forget about is like, it's not just like pop music. It's like also in the 80s. I mean, 80s was, the decade of what I'm sure all of us can agree is certainly the greatest music genre of the 20th century. And I'm speaking, of course, about hair metal. Also 80s, I tease, although I do very much have a soft spot for hair metal. Give me my Poison and Motley Crue and Bon Jovi. Bon Jovi's not hair metal. Okay, whatever. You know what I mean. And anyway, so we're gonna hit it, and then of course all that like late '80s alternative. You know, it wasn't even called alternative back then. It was like modern rock, I believe, is sort of like what the radio format term was, which is, you know, we're talking The Cure, The Smiths, New Order, you know, all that kind of stuff. So there's just so much good music from the 80s. But like I said, we're going to mash it up. We're going to keep it fresh. We're going to keep it interesting. It's like, hello, it's 2020. You've been hearing 80s music probably for as long as you've been alive. So you don't need to hear Blue Monday, just straight up Blue Monday, the original, anymore in this lifetime. You've heard enough, trust me. But we'll mash it up, of course. So we're going to give you a little different spin on it, okay? So yeah, that's what this weekend's all about. We're doing 80s mashup weekend. And I love that we are now at a point 4 months into our Twitch channel of embracing these themes. I mean, it took us years and years and years to really kind of like adopt the concept of theme parties for our events in real life. But you know, here on Twitch, to keep it interesting, keep you guys coming back to our channel. Yeah, I love the idea of doing a theme, and I love it when Happy Hours like kickstarts that theme right away. So thank you so much, Airson. Speaking of themes that are coming up, I literally just put together the entire August schedule, and people, we have got such a good schedule for August. We have coming up at the end of the month, we're going to do 90s. We're going to do a 90s mashup party because, you know, it just seems appropriate. Maybe we'll just, you know, the last weekend of every month, we'll just pick a decade. We've got the Pretty Princess Party, which is actually, well, I'll get to that in a second. We also have the summer camp is next weekend, which is related conceptually to what we're doing with the Pretty Princess Party. And then, but what I'm really, really, really excited about, and that comes up in 2 weeks, a little less than 2 weeks actually, is the Booty Mashup 17-year anniversary party. And it is weird to be celebrating our 17th birthday, like only live streaming. We're not throwing a party. Normally we throw like an epic shindig at our venue in San Francisco, DNA Lounge, and it is just a big, you know, it's a big party. In fact, one of the biggest parties of our career, like the third biggest party of our career, was our 10-year anniversary party when, you know, we were averaging like around 1,500 people, and then suddenly there was like 2,500 people for our 10-year anniversary. So that was very gratifying. I would love 10 times that here on a Twitch stream. That would be amazing. Speaking of, like, you know, just having a ton of people, we are like so close in our follower count to 10,000. And my goal is to reach 10,000 followers by the time we do our 17-year anniversary. So we've got like 10 days to hit 10,000. So I don't know where we're at right now, but I know we're damn close. Oh, wait a minute. Actually, we're super close because it Twitch rounds up for me. I know we haven't quite hit the 10K mark, but it already rounded up. Okay, well, thank you guys. All right, well, that was easy. I love that. I'm trying to like keep my eyes peeled to the. Thank you, Jupiter Gatling. 9,960. Yes. Okay. So we are 40 people away from 10,000. Oh my God. We literally started this channel on like March, in the middle of March. I mean, it's barely been a little over 4 months. Thank you. And thank you everyone who subscribes. I mean, you know, we used to like really like, please tip the channel right there. Venmo, Patreon, Ko-Fi. Also tip your DJs. I mean, all of us are a large percentage of the Booty Mashup team are, you know, working nightlife. We're DJs, in the real world too. So back when the real world was the real world and not this weird, global pandemic corona apocalypse world that we now live in. So, a lot of us are, basically out of work, out of like traditional work, and this is now our work. So all the tips, whether you're tipping the channel or whether you're tipping the DJs directly, it's so appreciated. Thank you. And we try to give back as much as we can. Our website, if you've been to our website, it's just like chock full of free shit. And our Patreon is amazing as well because we give exclusives. We offer mixtapes before they're available to the public. You get the same benefits that like my DJs get, as far as like if you love music, you're voracious about mashups and music, or even if you just like music. I mean, you don't need to necessarily be like, oh, I really love mashups, like we do. We're a little obsessive about it, but you get the same mashup pack that my DJs do. Just like music for days, and it's so we try to give as much as we can. I know we are all stuck in the corona apocalypse for however long it's gonna last, and the more people pretend that there isn't a corona apocalypse going on, the longer it's going to last. So we're here for you to like keep you entertained while you are not able to go to a real nightclub, not able to go to a party, while you're at home. Hopefully, even though I know things loosen up here and there, it's like we really should all try to, be sheltering in place a lot more than I think we are, at least in the U.S. So we are here for you. And even when all this shit is over, we are still going to be here for you. There is another aspect to this channel that has been so instrumental to my mental health and well-being, and I know a lot of people's mental health and well-being. We provide the live streaming, we provide the music. You guys in the chat pod certainly provide a sense of community, and there's this element to live streaming that I love. But the one thing I miss, Twitch is not integrated yet, but this is why we have Zoom. We have Zoom parties. And I was never, when we first started 4 months ago, I was like, okay, how can we try to integrate Twitch with Zoom? We were going to do a Zoom thing. And we have this thing at our LA party, Booty Mashup LA. We have a dance crew. We have a full-on dance crew that performs every party, or almost every party. And well, now we don't have a dance crew, but we have a dance Zoom room. And the mastermind behind both Raid, better known as Random Acts of Irreverent Dance, our Booty LA dance crew, and the Dance Commander Disco. She is the one and only Rami Becker, a.k.a. the Dance Commander, and she is our special guest here on Mashup Talk. Should we give her a call? Let's give her a call. Let's get her on the Skype and chit-chatting, because she's, like I said, just been an amazing part of this experience. All right, here we are. Hello.
Hi.
Welcome to Mashup Talk, Dance Commander.
Thank you so much.
So I can't believe I always love to tell the story of how we ended up with Raid, your dance crew, at Booty LA. And people are like, how'd you end up with like all these go-go dancers and this dance crew? And I was like, honestly, I don't really quite know. I mean, I was like, I do know that we didn't ever actually hire you. We didn't ever actually reach out and be like, please do this. It was just more like, I think from what I remember, and you please correct this story, it was just more like you were like, hey, can we dance on your stage? And we said, sure. And the rest is history.
Yeah. I mean, it was very insidious. Let me tell you, I started going to Booty LA in 2005, and I was just instantly in love. It was just everything I'd wanted in like a dance club experience, really, because it really had left, sort of the elitist bullshit at the door.
It
And it was so creative. Like mashups were just so creative to me. I come from like a musical theater background. So I just, every time I heard a mashup, it was like a musical theater, like dance number going off in my head. So I was like, I gotta meet these people. So what I kind of did was I was writing a dissertation at the time at UC Riverside in club and rave culture and stuff like that. So I contacted you and I kind of was like, hey, I kind of want to write about booty for my dissertation. Can I interview you? And while that was true, I did write about it in my dissertation. It really was mainly to meet you. Like it really kind of just wanted to get in there.
wow.
So we did that, and then I think I brought up a little later to you and to some of the other organizers of Booty LA. I think I said, "Hey, I have a dance troupe, and we choreographed mashups," which was like again partially true because like yeah, I had a lot of friends that we did like flash mobs in the streets and through parties and stuff like that, but like I did not have a dance troupe like that. That was definitely me like faking it till I made it. So you guys said yes, and then I sort of rounded up my friends and said, "Hey, now we're a dance troupe," and none of them were actually like, trained dancers.
Right.
So that was kind of, but that was kind of a great thing to happen because I learned that I really love working with people who are not necessarily professional dancers or fit like your idea of what a dancer is supposed to be. I really like working with people who just have the passion for it.
Yeah,
So.
I do kind of remember this now because we would do every party. This is when we were once a month. We would do a midnight mashup show, and often it was just me singing, And I do remember you were like, "Oh, we want to do a number," and I'm like, "And you got? Oh, okay." I booked Raid as a midnight mashup show, and I think did you have the gold suits for that first one?
Yes, that was yeah, that I just wanted something. I was a solid gold dancers when I was growing up. 80s, 80s, 80s,
Yeah.
80s. Yeah. And so like I've always loved that like over the top flashiness. But I wanted to also just make it also just have that turn of like ridiculousness and something that kind of looked ridiculous on everybody. So we found these were called Zentai suits, and they're just like full body gold lame, like with hands and feet and actually a hood. And we cut out like the face so
Ah.
that you could just like see. I mean, it was like the most bizarre look, and we were like, well, this is what we're going with. And it just so happened that it was the same night that Lady Gaga was doing like her sort of first tour to like for exposure around the LA area right before her first album came out. And she was doing like a drop-in performance at Booty LA, and we didn't like know. We were like, I think you guys were like, oh yeah, this new artist is gonna come on. Her name's Lady Gaga. We were like, sure, fine. We had no idea like what was gonna happen.
That was actually those several that was years after you'd already sort of like adopted us though, because I remember, I mean, that was at Echoplex, and when you first started with us, it was at the Echo, which is much smaller and a much smaller stage. But I do know when we sort of graduated we moved to a different venue, and then we came back. We did Echo for like 2 months, and then finally the Echoplex was, because it took them forever to like finally build that place out. And that's when you guys really were like, ooh, this big stage. Yeah. And so many times that we would get emails and people would be like, how do I join? How do I become, part of Raid? And it's like, how did you find, like, I mean, just for the viewers at home that don't know, I mean, Raid could be anywhere from like 4 people to like 25 people on stage. It was always like this mishmash of people, all shapes and sizes. And, there's definitely a few regulars, but you seem to have like just a whole bunch of like random people, pardon the,
Right. Yeah. That was definitely a random aspect to it. We just sort of, as we kept going, we just realized that we had sort of like a group of people that, we couldn't like actually like pay them, for like to be like just exclusive to our troupe or anything. So these are a lot of creative people that had their hands in like different improv troupes, or they were stand-up comedians, or they were actors and actresses. So it was just became sort of like a loose collective, and sort of we would put out, and this is before like social media, basically. I mean, it was the very beginning of Facebook.
Yeah.
So we were just put out like an email, list, and being like, okay, if you can, be a part of this week, sign up by this date. We're gonna have one rehearsal to put the whole dance together, because again, everyone's schedules were all over the map. There's no way we could even pay for a place. We couldn't even pay for a place, so we were like would rehearse in my parking lot,
or
right?
no, I mean, I remember, I mean, this was like one of the hallmarks of Booty LA is, okay, we're arriving at the club, we we pull in and park, and you guys are all there in the parking lot with like a boom box or something, like, to whatever mashup you guys were going to perform to, all like working out your choreography, literally like in the parking lot 2 hours before the club opens.
Oh, literally, like it was so by just I mean, again, like one rehearsal on a Thursday.
Yeah.
So for the Saturday performance, and like we really had to focus on like what can we do in 2 hours with all of these people with different abilities, and different sort of just approaches to dance. And then yeah, we would have that final sort of like slapdash dress rehearsal in the parking lot of the
Right.
Echoplex or wherever. So
Crazy. And now here it is. We're all quarantined at home. Nightclubs are pretty much probably shut down for the next who knows how long. And yet here we are still I mean, I don't even want to say working together, because it's just more like in the same way that Raid just sort of adopted the Booty Mashup Party in LA is like, okay, this is our home base. It feels like your Zoom party just sort of adopted our channel as like, oh, okay, here we are again.
pretty much, you're just not gonna get rid of me. Like, I'm sorry. It's just not gonna happen.
So how did this come about, where just all of a sudden, I mean, we were sitting here it was hard enough just to like kind of, one learning curve of just trying to get Twitch up and running. And then it was like, okay, now we need to kind of like figure out Zoom. And you were already jumping in there. So it made perfect sense to just be like, okay, we don't need to do our own Zoom party, because Ramey's already got this like pretty much getting dialed in. Where did that all come from?
I just like I've learned that that community and keeping connection is vital to kind of my mental health. That's just sort of been my journey. So when quarantine happened and I realized that, this was going to mean a lot of isolation, I sort of was on it right away with seeing what possibilities were out there with the technology that we had. Now, like, mind you, like, I'm really not, I've always been a leery of like online socialization, because I really think there's value to what we can do in real life. But it's not an option. I'm going to figure out everything I can do, to like stay connected to people,
Yeah.
And so the first step was, like trying to organize different meetups with my friends, over Zoom and whatnot. And then I was like, I really need to like connect with my, my dancing people that, what the people who that I, know that like we really find connection through that shared dance experience.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, we're going to do a disco lounge. We're going to do like a dance. We're going to try something out. And, it was like I was even working on like a computer that didn't allow me to change my first background. So I was like, we got to go to Rite Aid and get some paper. I got to put something back here.
But it glows in the black light. It looks amazing.
It was just so like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I just need to keep doing it,
Right.
and we'll figure it out as we go along. So, and then it just, it happened, like, can we just, it's going to be bumpy at first, but we got to try it.
Yeah. I mean, all of us were, learning as we go. I mean, we hit the ground running, and we made all sorts of, mistakes along the way, but it's like, whatever. I mean, I feel like that was everybody everywhere, like all jumping onto Twitch, jumping onto Zoom. I mean, I haven't had a day job in forever. I've never used Zoom for anything. Like I've never been in a Zoom meeting, but
No,
except for yours, and it's not a meeting.
Right. I didn't know about Discord. I didn't know about Twitch. I didn't know about Zoom. But I feel that's kind of like a wonderful, if I want to like look at the positive part of this, is that this is kind of the same time as I like to read about when like in first electronic dance music came around or punk culture came around, where people are picking up the technology that is around them and making new things out of it, because like Dance Commander Disco is now it's basically an experiment in community that combines Twitch and Zoom and Discord. Like all three parts that come together,
Well, and it's because there's sadly, there's no app that sort of like just integrates it all, but it's also because each of these things were sort of developed independently for different things, and now here it is. I mean, it's like Twitch, was a gaming platform, and now it's like, well, in the absence of DJs being able to, DJ at a club, there's now this whole music aspect to Twitch, which is, I love music Twitch.
Right.
And Zoom, it's like, I did end up in a Zoom meeting somewhat recently, and I was like, oh, this is what a real Zoom meeting is like. I was just like sitting there.
Oh,
I was so bored. I'm like, do I need to be here? I don't need to be here. Are you? But the Dance Commander Disco is so much fun, and you've got you've definitely got your regulars. What I have noticed, I'm gonna do a big blog post about this at some point because it's just been utterly, totally fascinating. The parallels between developing a party, developing a community, having that vibe in a nightclub, and comparing it to what we've done with live streaming with Twitch and with Zoom parties, and like you used to be able to you'd see the familiar faces at the club. Now you see the familiar faces at the Zoom party. At the club, some people are like, hey, you drinking enough water? I mean, it's like, the whole hydrate thing is like such a thing. All of us just communicating through a computer screen, but we're all still taking care of each other in the same way that we would do, and in some ways even more so than we would do in a nightclub environment.
Oh, definitely. And, you see, like, it works really beautifully when you have people who can show their different strengths, and everyone is a little bit different. It's like some people come and they may bring more of sort of like the graphics game, to Dance Commander Disco. Some people really enjoy the dancing aspect. Some people like can do like an amazing makeup game. Some people, and just like like a little bit of each of those like wonderful talents. Like that's what always blows my mind.
Yeah, this is another reason. I mean, at the top of the show, I was talking about theme parties. And, the whole reason we're doing our summer camp theme next week and the Pretty Princess party in 3 weeks is because of you guys. I mean, you were like, well, do you really want to hear every crazy idea for a theme? And I'm like, yes, yes, give it to me.
Right.
Like, I might not do all of them, but we love, especially, we can't do a music theme all the time, a decade or an artist tribute. So I sometimes like the, just like booty mashup parties in real life, I like the dress up costumey themes. And it's been great to watch what everyone in the Dance Commander Disco brings as far as like costumes. It's been wonderful.
Oh, yeah. They're blowing my mind. They were meant for this. Like this, they just jumped in and swam like right away.
Yeah.
And it's great though too because it takes away some of the limitations of throwing some of the more outlandish themes in real life, because you can, like, if you can't get out and get an outfit, you don't have the money, whatever, you can make virtual things up. You can throw out the virtual background. That's like fantastic too. But if your jam is really like pulling together costume pieces from what you have, you can do that too.
Yeah.
So
last week's Comic-Con sets, everything that was like the best integration of our Twitch DJ streams with all the geeky mashups, and then like we would have the Zoom wall behind us, and it was just like it was so fun to watch the Twitch chat like really point out people and be like, oh my god, is that this character or that character, and It was just amazing. So I love, yes, more dress up themes. I'm very curious what you guys are going to do next week for summer camp, and frankly this week for 80s.
Yeah, I really got to give a shout out to my moderators because they really came through with those theme ideas. Like they are just a fantastic group of like people, and I mean, yeah.
Shout them out. Who are they?
Well, there is Keslo. It's Keslo. And Keslo, I first got to know him. He came up to probably the first big Friday night that we had, and he reached out to me about a week later, and just asked like, "Hey, do you want like help with this?" And I didn't know him from Adam,
Right.
And I looked at his profile. I saw that he was trained as a Black Rock Ranger. He was a burner, and so I was instantly like, "Yeah, this is definitely the person who has the chops."
Yeah, definitely. If you are one of the Rangers at Burning Man, you are well versed in dealing with organized chaos. So yeah.
Yes, that's kind of what we needed because originally I was like pretty concerned about people like getting too intoxicated actually in an isolated environment to like where we like couldn't help it, which is a reason why we push hydration and like moderation like all the time.
Yeah.
And Kessel's been great though to just like be really helpful with like again like help managing that controlled chaos and like just being just absolutely like the absolute right person at the right moment for this.
Nice.
And we also have Cthulhu, who our dark overlord.
And I love that last week on when I had Matt and Marisha from Critical Role, Marisha literally called him out for the aspirational backgrounds that he always does in the in the Zoom, the Dance Commander Disco, which then of course gets transmitted to Twitch, and just like such this beacon of positivity that is so needed right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, we have Ari, our short sergeant. We have Kevin Caboin. I don't ever say his name out loud. We have Luby. We have Micah. We have now Shane, and we have Jason Christmas Elf. And I'm trying to think if that's. I think I'm forgetting somebody, but we have just a really just solid crew.
Yeah.
Every day we pretty much are in some form of communication via like Discord or something, and it just feels like it's like carrying me and carrying this whole project, and most importantly keeping that support system for each other.
It's interesting. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like in real life there's Raid. And this is almost like the virtual Zoom Coronapocalypse version of Raid, where there's this like community of people that come together united under like the idea of just being able to like dance and wear costumes. And
yeah. Oh, sorry, Atron. John Atron, our Viking. He's the last moderator.
I'm sure
you're right. Yeah. Like this is like what I really loved that Booty and Raid was able to do is sort of give people that petri dish to really take their imagination to the next level, and take their creativity about what kind of avatar or what kind of like special creation they wanted to be, and give them like stage to do that. And that's really why I really love to run the spotlight part.
Yes. Well, and I get it, because I remember when we first, like, that was my big thing. I was like, oh, we need to figure out how to get Zoom into our live streams. How can we do this? And I was the first one to do it. And I think at that time, we were still trying to figure out all the tech, but I was able to spotlight, and that's so much fun. Like even in the middle of a DJ set of all the multitasking, I would just be like, ooh, they look great. Oh, they're lip syncing along. And, oh, this relates to the song. Now you don't let the DJs do that anymore because you guys hold it down. But I understand because it is so much fun to spotlight people.
Yeah. It is like, oh man, yeah, and I just it's really interesting to like, yeah, try your hand at it kind of in repetition. And at first sometimes it feels kind of clunky, but I just feel like sometimes you just really get in that flow and you can really feel the music and you see someone who is like especially feeling that song, and this and that. I mean, it's a blast. And so I've been also like training my mods on how to do it too. To see if like, oh, do you get now why this is like, kind of a great like skill to have in your set. And some people really like are scared of it, and some people love it, but I think it's fantastic. I have a blast
Yeah,
every time.
and it is kind of fun. I love the whole like just staring at the computer, and then they realize they're actually because of the lag, they
Yeah.
pop up before they see themselves pop up, and then it's like just which is I live for that.
I do love surprising people sometimes. Yeah.
Exactly. And so yeah, it is you've just been I love that here we are in 2020. You said this to me not too long ago, where I was like, would you ever imagine that here we would be like 15 years later, like still doing shit
Oh
together,
my God.
but like you know
Life is crazy. It's crazy. It's just, yeah, it's beautiful and yeah, crazy.
Yeah, and
But
and I like what you said about it being instrumental to keeping good mental health. It really all of it, but the Zoom I love. I mean, half the time I just bounce into the Zoom, and I always like just chat, and I'd be like, "Hey guys, I'm just gonna be working and lurking," but it's just nice to see all of your faces. Especially in
yeah.
the early days of like I live alone. My partner, Jupiter Gatling, is all the way over in Germany. Like literally every person I saw was on a screen, but it was just my close little circle. That experience of going to a club and seeing all the happy faces, I miss that. And the Dance
Yeah.
Commander Disco was very much my like, oh, okay, at least I'm not always going to like be super interactive because I'm doing other stuff and I can't manage 3 different chats all at once, but it's really just
Yeah.
nice to see everyone's faces and that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and that's like really an integral part of mental health. I mean, like you can go back and look at the science of it about how, the facial, how we recognize facial features, especially when they're in a small formation, and that changes our actual brain chemistry. So while, I absolutely wear your mask. Please don't say I'm not wearing a mask, but there is something like that we are a little bit missing though when we're seeing people outside with the mask on,
Yeah.
because like you're not seeing the full, you're not recognizing the face as a whole and getting those actual like brain chemistry flowing. So this is a way, via Zoom that we can see like smiling faces. I mean, it doesn't have to be like a lot more complicated than that, and I really love, I'm starting to try to encourage more moments. I'm trying to catch people when they come in the Zoom room and see if I can get that like eye contact. It's like, can you see me waving at you for a
Right.
second? Can you have, it's like, I feel like we're trying to squeeze like as much connection as we can, with the limitations and, that we're under right
Yeah.
now, but hey, like it's, I come away with like these parties and, like I don't feel lonely for a while. I feel
Yeah.
good, like it's, you know, I think it's fantastic.
So people ask us in the Twitch chat pod all the time. It's like, they know that we throw parties in real life, or at least used to. They're like, oh, okay, when this is all over, are you still going to be doing, your Twitch channel? Are you still going to be live streaming? And I'm like, God, yes, of course. So I want to ask you the same question. Would you still be doing the Dance Commander Disco, or is this like just a Corona apocalypse type thing?
Oh, no, no, no. Well, okay, first for two reasons. Like, first of all, I don't live in LA anymore. Like, I'm actually, this is all, I used to live in, LA, like a few miles away from where we threw parties in real life. I'm now in Visalia, which is several hours outside of Visalia, I mean, outside of LA. Yeah, this is my nightlife, apocalypse or not.
Yeah.
And second, I'm actually type 1 diabetic. I have a lot of like health complications. So I'm going to be like really, really, really slow to integrate back into when everybody else is going to be able to,
Understood.
which is great. That this is just different things for different people there where they are health wise. But I'm going to be one of the last people who's going to be able to. So yeah, I'm here. I'm not going anywhere, and yeah, don't worry about that.
Okay, that is good to hear. I mean, I like at this point, I kind of can't imagine Booty Mashup without a live stream, and frankly, I can't imagine it without the Dance Commander Disco on the weekends either, as it is just so much. It's been lovely and wonderful, and yes, I can't thank you enough. Is there anything else you want to add? I know you said you only wanted to chat for 15 minutes, but here we are like 30 minutes later. I knew this would happen.
I guess I just wanted to mention that we're also doing weekday programming too on Dance Commander Disco, because DJ Chris Fox had this like great idea that he put out there that he wanted to do like kind of a half-ass like spin class, and I am a group exercise instructor. I worked at the YMCA in Glendale, and I've always wanted, and my ideas were always a little too wacky for the YMCA because they were like that. They were like, I want to do drag queen aerobics or something like that, and the YMCA is like, probably not. So I saw Chris Fox put that idea out there, and I was like all over it. And so yes, next week we're going to be starting a spin class full of 80s tunes called Sit and Spin. And you can see I have like my bike right there.
Oh, you've got one. Okay. Yeah, I tuned into DJ Fox's first Sit and Spin earlier this week, and I was like, oh my God, this is a great idea. I was like, he's just, he's sitting there like, actually like this way, literally spinning, and then like actually DJing while he's on the stationary bike. But I do love, I didn't see the qualifier half-assed spin class until later, and I was like, oh yeah, that's very much.
Yeah, it's like we just want to sit and watch us and be snarky in the chat room. Awesome. If you want to actually get active and then you can join the Zoom room or just follow along at home.
Yeah.
And I'll be sweating and losing my shit over every 80s tune because I love 80s anyway. Right. So
Oh, so this weekend's gonna be your jam then, huh?
Oh God, yeah. So we have that. And then before that, I've paired up with Love Connie, who is a fabulous drag artist. She's been on RuPaul's Drag Race and a bunch of other different things. She does a lot of performances in LA. And she's doing Connie Aerobics, which is, you just have to see it to believe it. And that's at right before Sit and Spin on Mondays and Wednesdays. So I'm going to be super tired on Tuesdays and Thursdays. But
right.
It's worth it. Love Connie. She has an amazing character. She knows so many details about 70s and 80s pop culture, movies, music, all that sort of stuff. And she's also an actual group exercise instructor too. So right. Again, you're getting this mix of fun and community and connection and humor and maybe a little bit of physical activity too. Who knows?
Yeah, I will say I've actually danced more since the Corona apocalypse began than I ever have. Because usually, I'm active. I'm running around the club, making sure shit's happening. And, I'm in the DJ booth and I'm bobbing. But, literally in the middle of the living room dancing my ass off. Or, in front of a webcam for the Dance Commander Disco. It's I never do that. I never dance. But this is it's been making me dance more. So... thanks.
My work is done.
Oh my God, right?
Love it.
Oh, all right. Well, I know Jupiter Gatling also wanted to jump in and say hi, so I'm gonna let you go and get ready for 80s mashup night. And
I gotta get my leotard on. We got stuff to do.
All right,
yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Rami, for joining us on Mashup Talk, and we'll see you in the Zoom. Everyone, please join in the Zoom party. You don't even need to turn your camera on. It's just a fun, lively chat. Sometimes if the Twitch chat pod can be too much, each chat is different. It's so much multitasking. But yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Awesome.
Okay.
All right. I'll see you soon.
Ciao.
Bye.
All right. That was the Dance Commander. and I know Jupiter Gatling, who is our I was about to say our special guest DJ, but no, she's one of our residents. So there's I don't want to say there's nothing special about her, but she's definitely not a guest. She's the only of our resident DJs. She's the only one who doesn't have a regular weekly show, but that's also because she's in Germany and weird hours, but she's here almost every weekend.
Hello.
Jupiter Gatling.
Do you see me? Do you hear me?
Yes. Oh my God. Why? What is up with your hair? Let's show it off. Let's see it. Oh my God. You are giving me side ponytail 80s realness.
It's a side ponytail, yeah, God, but I still need to put the headphones back on. There's no feedback.
Right. And the gloves too.
Just one, as it should be.
Is this what you wore in the 80s?
Yeah, it is absolutely what I wore in the 80s. No, if I wore what I wore in the 80s, we would be banned again on Twitch. Although
your birthday suit.
More or less, a funny story. 2 weeks ago, when I transformed into Elsa, here on Twitch for Guy, because Frozen is my favorite story about Christmas happening in July. I was wearing an outfit, not wear the bottoms that go with it, because then we would have also got Twitch again. I was wearing a little short skirt to get to it without being banned, but also being comfortable. And this is a skirt my mother made for me when I was a kid. And so basically when I was like 1 year old, so definitely back in the 80s still, and I still fit.
That is crazy. Okay, I'm going to ask you to do one thing. Your microphone on your cable, pull it away from all your jangly necklaces, because oh my God, yeah, it was like crackle of the microphone banging into it. Okay, so wait a minute. This little dress or a skirt that your mother made?
It was a skirt. It was just a tiny little skirt.
Well, I'm sure when you were a kid, it was probably like a long skirt, and now maybe it's a mini skirt.
Me, I never grew. I didn't grow after the age of 1.
I mean, you're definitely bigger than you were when you were like 1 year old. That's for sure.
Probably. I assume it was a little longer back in the day. Now it's
okay.
It has also a very, very flattering. What's the word? A very
forgiving.
Thank you. A very forgiving rubber band. That's
the elastic waistband, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Like that's. Jesus, I mean, all those decades, but well, I still wear that skirt.
That is crazy. Well, you look amazing. Are you like, I definitely thought of you for the 80s party, because I know one of your first solo DJ sets was doing an 80s party in Berlin. And I gave you a bunch of the booty mashup 80s stuff, and then you ended up, it wasn't booked as an all mashup set, was it? But you kind of ended up.
Oh, no. You can never do this in German. You can never book an all mashup DJ set because people know that they like them. So they just booked me as an 80s party. I was together DJing with somebody else who, knew about mashups more or less, but when he first heard my mashups or my collection, he was like, oh my fucking God, that's amazing. So now he's a real fan of us. And yeah, so he booked me. We didn't build a set. I just, wrote it into fine print as the last word. So if you hear a mashup in the club, you just can't help but, dancing to it.
So you tricked people into listening to mashups. Basically, okay. Yeah. And it was all it was an 80s theme party, and it was all 80s mashups that you played?
Yeah, of course. He all played like all these 80s classics, some things that even might not have mashups of, or that were more popular in Europe. So there are not so many mashups I have from you of it, because it's
come on, I've got a couple modern talking mashups in the mix there, right?
I mean, you're fucking kidding. This never got cool, okay? This never reached the point of retro where it's cool. Although, shit, anyway.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, the crowd liked it. I shot so many videos of them just singing along to every song, and yeah, it just the owners of the club were very much like, played so many mashups.
Yeah, well,
grumpy people.
You definitely do not need to worry about anyone on this channel giving you shit for playing too many mashups. I mean, yeah, you ended up, and because it was Berlin, it was like the party went for like 10 hours or something, right?
Yeah, it was a regular 8 hours set.
Yeah, okay. I'll just... Is this sort of like why you have become the marathon queen of this channel, where it's like, everyone gets booked for 3-hour sets and you're the only one who's like, oh, no, it's okay, give me both 3-hour sets on a Friday or a Saturday night, and you just take the whole 6 hours, and sometimes it's still not enough.
I don't think I ever did a DJ set for only as long as I was scheduled, so with exception for 2 times where someone was like the goth set we did for World Goth Day. It was my shortest DJ set ever. It was just 2 hours.
Yeah, sorry. You crackle. You need to like throw the or something, just for our listeners, because I'm sure it sounds annoying as I'll get out. But anyway, well, what do you got in store for us tonight?
The usual. I am going to go through this epic 80s playlist that brought down to the stuff that I like. I also have something very special today. I always have something very special today. 2 brand new mashups that were sent to me. One and only king of 80s glory, Mark Johnson.
Oh yeah, Mark Johnson likes his 80s. It's true.
It's the 80s. Yeah, I'm gonna play a bunch of his tracks today, but also some time for today's party and send it to me. So I'm going to premiere one. Also, a new mashup producer of the last audio bender, who also started sending me mashups per mail, who also happened to have created an 80s mashup just for today just in time for today that I'm also going to play later today.
Your microphone's driving the chat pod crazy. And
oh my
you're
God.
the one who came up with the expression, what the chat pod wants, the chat pod gets. I think you need to not ever do a wearable mic ever again. Or
a wearable mic. I don't know what you're talking about.
Your microphone, something is going crackle, crackle, crackle. So I assumed it's the microphone on your headphone. But is it not?
This is my microphone.
What is it?
Is this any?
Well, I don't know. We won't know, but yeah. All right, let's just keep talking. We're good. Oh,
sound bad? Do I need to be louder or more quiet?
No. You're fine. It was just like something is rattling up against the microphone. It almost, what it sounds like is those like microphones that you clip to your shirt or like down, and if like it bangs into like jewelry, or if something scrapes against the little.
Sure, but I mean, I don't have a microphone here. My microphone's right there.
I don't know. I don't know. I think you might be using the microphone from your headphones. It might. I think that might be the microphone that's happening. Yeah, it's because we're Skyping, so I think Skype uses that microphone and not your normal, podcasting live streaming microphone.
How's this?
Oh my god!
This is better?
Oh my god! This is so much better. Light it up, chat pod. Is that the microphone she should have been using this whole time?
I thought it was. Okay, but that is really confusing. There is no microphone in these headphones.
Yes, there is.
Where?
Or maybe it's. I mean, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, you know what? You're right. Well, I have no idea what microphone it was that was causing the issue.
Oh my god! I'm so sorry that I.
You ruined it. Oh my god!
I ruined it.
Yeah, we lost 10 viewers. It's all over.
Oh my god, it's all over.
For those of you, I'm gonna clue you into a little inside joke between. Oh no, it's between myself and Jupiter Gatling and DJ Time, where we're definitely the you know,
Unfollowed,
yeah,
subscribed. Oh my God.
I'm like the mom. Jupiter's like the dad, and DJ Time's like the kooky uncle, and all of us are like always in a little chat conversation with each other, and it's always one of these things where it's like, oh, we've been streaming for a while, and it's like, oh, our numbers, viewer numbers go up and down, and it's like, oh, is it what I'm playing? I lost 10 viewers, says Jupiter, and and it's like, it's all over. It's it. It was like, it was a good run, but it's over.
It's all over.
So now we don't even wait for her to say that. DJ Time and I just jump in and it's like, yeah, I should probably just give it up. We should just shut the channel down. We lost.
It's all over now. Yeah, the last. We just gained 10. My microphone was better.
Yeah, see.
It was all my fault. Well, I'm sorry for that, fuck up.
Yeah.
So
unproud. I thought you were a professional.
No, I'm just pretending all the time. Seriously.
Yes. Did I forget on Wednesday when I did my mashup talk? Did I warn people that we might be telling the meet cute story on this show today?
You did.
Okay, I lied.
Big introduction.
So, chat pod, anyone who is tuned in to my Wednesday show and tuned in right now waiting for the meet cute story of myself and Jupiter Gatling, yeah, you're going to have to wait another week. And you will get to hear the story of how Adriana A. and Jupiter Gatling, we didn't meet cute. I don't know. It was cute, but it's also kind of cute. It's also kind of scandalous. So, yes, we're gonna do we're gonna do the how we met story. It's gonna be, it's a good story though. It's gonna be interesting. But yeah, that's gonna happen next Friday, everybody. I wanted to have the Dance Commander on this show, and then also it's sort of like next Friday is in anticipation of something cool that will hopefully happen in 8 days, but I don't want to jinx it any more than I probably already have. So and yes, scandalous. Scandalous is a good word, DJ Time. He knows.
I mean, we might write story. Who the fuck knows?
Oh, well, I think I need to. Okay, so the story was actually told for a sort of like an erotic storytelling series that I was a part of. So I'm definitely going to need to edit out some parts of it for Twitch, for sure.
Actually, what is the deal? Do we know that? Is Twitch only mad at you if you do something visually descriptive, or do they also not like it if you talk?
Well, I don't think we can.
Sexy shit.
I mean, we can mention sexy shit here and there, but I think we can't like have like a deep, in-depth, like, HBO real sex kind of like talk about stuff. I think. Look. We were suspended for 24 hours simply because I stood up and turned around and shaked my butt. They were in a pair of hot pants, admittedly, for like less than 5 seconds during Baby Got Back. So, yeah, let's maybe edit the story next week a little bit, just in case. All right. Well, I know you need to get ready for your epic, contractually obligated 6-hour set of 80s mashups. And are you going to go long?
We don't know.
Yeah, who knows?
We don't know.
Who knows? Yeah, what time is it there in Germany? It's early.
4 a.m. in the morning.
Did you take a nap?
Yeah, I went out with Time's girlfriend last night.
That's right. DJ Time's ex-girlfriend actually lives in Berlin.
Berlin.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we hang out a lot. I got her in the breakup, so to say. And oh God, he says. And yeah, we then hung out in the Dance Commander Disco for a little bit, went to bed, woke back up at 6 p.m. I'm ready for this.
You're ready to go. Okay, well, I'm going to let you go so you can switch everything over for your DJ set. And thanks for just jumping on for a little appearance here on Mashup Talk.
Okay.
Bye. That is Jupiter Gatling, everybody. There we are. Thank you, everyone, for sticking around and joining us here on our our channel's little obligatory talk show, little just chatting. Been loving having multiple guests on the show. It was so wonderful to get Rami from the Dance Commander, from the Dance Commander Disco. Hope to see you guys in there. I'm probably going to be doing my usual working and lurking, although I don't know, I'm kind of also in the middle of, I just cleaned my bathroom finally. It was like I had 2 Corona Apocalypse projects that I was just like, if I don't get this done, I will have failed. I'm a loser, which was clean my bathroom and clean and organize. That's the problem. And clean and organize my kitchen. So I finally did it. So now I can move on to other things like, I don't know, getting our YouTube channel in a better shape than it is, that kind of thing. Anyway, thank you guys so much for joining us. I am going to jump off of here, and I hope that all of you are ready for the 80s. And like I said, it's going to be the 80s mashed up. So it's going to be all your 80s favorites, definitely with a twist. And I really hope you enjoy it. And thank you so much for being here, for supporting the channel, and we hope to see you. If Jupiter Gatling does not show up when I sign off here, then you know what? Hold on a minute. I realized I needed to. I'm remembering to do it this time. Change the go live notification, and great. Okay, now we're good to go. All right, everyone. I'm Adriana A. I am your pirate queen here on the Booty Mashup channel, and it is time to get our dance on for the 80s mashup party. If you don't see Jupiter Gatling, hit refresh, and thank you guys. Ciao.